are here in the home of the dreaming spires to J.R. Tolkien, Riz Ahmed, Rachel Riley, and even the home of the lithium-ion battery. But perhaps most relevant to this episode, it's also considered one of the most prolific cycling cities in the UK, if not the most prolific. We are, of course, in Oxford, and we're here to review this, the Fiido E-gravel C21 electric bike, which, priced at £1,090, sits at the lower end of the electric bike price spectrum. And we're here to see if that relative affordability translates into good value for money. Welcome to the Everything Electric Show. Love everything electric? Then join us live in Canada this September, the South in October, and Australia and London in 2025. An e-gravel bike is like the crossover SUV of the electric bike world, combining the racy ride position of a road bike with a very, very tamed down version of the off-road capability of an electric mountain bike. Sadly, here in Oxford, we can't really put those capabilities to the test. This is about as gravelly as it gets, and so far, so good. A few things to point out. First of all, this came delivered to me in a box, which was about so big. And it took, honestly, about 20 minutes to set up. It was super, super simple and straightforward. Just had to do the front wheel, the brakes, pedals. That was pretty much it. Really, really simple setup. If you haven't heard of Fiido before, they are a Chinese brand and they actually do a whole array of electric bikes. So cargo bikes, fat tire bikes, road bikes, super lightweight bikes, and of course these e-gravel ones as well. There is actually a C22 version of this, which is a step through. Now for me, I would think I would probably prefer that version because the whole appeal of electric bikes is that you can get where you need to go on a bike without getting sweaty. So if you're wearing a dress or tight trousers or just have reduced mobility, that step through version is always a little bit preferable. But this one, certainly not too bad. Highlights and lowlights. Let's start with the highlights. First of all, I really do like the way that it looks. It doesn't look like an electric bike, and I think particularly from a security perspective, not least here in Oxford where bikes get stolen all the time, that's really, really important. The battery is here and it's fairly concealed. The only real giveaway is the on-off button down there. It's also very, very lightweight, relatively speaking. It is 17.4 kilos, which, especially if you live in an apartment building or you're taking it onto a train, it's important that it's pretty lightweight. It has both a horn and a bell, which is fantastic. I haven't actually attached the bell, but the horn I tried out earlier, and that one's good for road rage. The bell more appropriate for, you know, politely asking to be excused. The display is super clear and it also has a headlight which is powered by the battery as well. But some lowlights. So while 17.4 kilos is light, it isn't the lightest. And Fiido, I think, were a little bit hyperbolic when they describe it as light as a feather. That is definitely not quite true. But in the spirit of keeping the weight down, the battery is pretty small. It's 208.8 watt hours. You can in fact get a second battery which can attach in a bottle format, which will of course double the range. Now Fiido claim an 80 kilometre or 50-mile range. If you look at any kind of other reviews or user reviews, I think that may be slightly pushing it, but of course all of that range is going to be dependent on your weight, the temperature, the types of conditions that you're cycling in. But certainly for, you know, your day-to-day trips, maybe that should be enough. Now, the major drawback is that the battery is not removable by users. Of course, it can be removed by the manufacturer, but if you are going to charge this thing, you need to take this bike into your home. And at that point, probably 17.4 kilos will start to feel a little bit heavy. So while 17.4 kilos may be pretty heavy to lift, well, certainly for me, when you're riding around, it feels so light, so nimble and reasonably comfortable, which when you're riding around town and there's lots of pedestrians to navigate or lots of obstacles to navigate, that really helps give it that precise sense of control. Now, some other stats for you. There is a 250 watt rear hub motor, there is a 9-speed setup, and there's a Mivus torque sensor, which basically means that the power is related to how much turning force you're putting through the pedals, not just the frequency or cadence of turning those pedals. And again, that really contributes to having quite an intuitive and natural feel to the cycle. Now, technically, the maximum speed is 19 miles per hour, but of course, for e-bikes here in the UK, the legal limit is 15.5 miles per hour. And there are 5 different modes. There's Eco, which is what I'm in currently, Sport, Normal, Turbo, and Turbo Plus. Of course, those slightly more sporty ones, they're going to help you up hills, but they are also going to drain the battery that little bit quicker. So my personal bike was £5 and I got it out of a tip, which means that any bike, let alone any e-bike, has a possibly unfair benchmark to compare it to. So how does this compare? Well, pretty good really. And if I think about how I would use this here in Oxford, it would be for racing across town, making sure that I'm not late and I'm not sweaty. But additionally, whilst this is no bike for, true mountain bike aficionados, it is perfect for venturing a bit further afield, poodling along some bridle ways in search of Oxfordshire's finest pubs. So all in all, just a really good value e-bike. Let us know what you think in the comments. Please do like and subscribe, and if you have been, thank you for watching.